All right, welcome again to another edition of the Power Priest podcast. I hope the lighting behind me is not obscuring me, but this is the best seat that I could find on today. But wanted to talk about something today that's very interesting. We want to talk about pivoting without losing sight of our main. Make sure my hat's not crooked. There we go. Without losing sight of our main goals. One of the things that we find that I see that when we talk to perhaps like other pastors trying to start businesses, side hustles, trying to do all of those types of things, that they feel like you're taking them away from what it is that they either do or what they feel like they do best, what they think their mission and their goal is. And a lot of times our mindset is like that. I certainly understand that, being a pastor myself, being a bishop in the church, being a priest in the church. That we want nothing to deter us from what it is that we're trying to do as far as the church is concerned. And so it's not necessarily a pivot that we're trying to get people to do when we say, hey, pastor, hey, bishop so-and-so, try solar to fund your ministry. But we're trying to build, a movement of primarily clergy, but others as well, or just believers in general, to kind of just do solar on the side, a few hours a month. I'm sorry, not a month, but a few hours a week, that could snowball into something greater if we build a movement together. And this is what we want to do. We want to build a movement together with all of you. But a lot of times people kind of reject that notion because it's like, no, that doesn't fit with what it is I'm already doing. And so I wanted to show you this country. We know that the purpose of government. We know what the Bible says about the purpose of government. Government basically is to provide safety and security and services, and whatever else to sovereignty, obviously, to those who are under their care, those who are under the nations. The Bible talks about those who have rule over us are supposed to be ministers. The government officials are supposed to be ministers or servants. So they really should not be in this to get rich. But anyway, I wanted to highlight this particular government that while they were doing what it is that they do, which is govern, right? While they have a parliament and I don't know if they have a president or prime minister or king or whatever they have, whatever form of government they have, while they were doing that, they kind of had this thing going on the side as well that also would enhance, and this is in the energy sector right away, that would also enhance what it was their primary goal. They had this secondary thing going that was designed to enhance their primary thing. So I want you to see this. Norway. Norway has a oil empire. Norway. So the government of Norway 60 years ago, it says, after finding what they call the oil equivalent of a lottery ticket in the North Sea, it formed the foundation of what is now one of the world's largest and most influential wealth funds. Now, Norway is not the country of Norway. I don't know if it's a kingdom or not, but the country of Norway does not exist to be an oil producer. But it's using the oil to get what it really wants. And that's safety and stability, sovereignty, services to its constituents, to its citizens, right? So check this out. So they found oil 60 years ago, and after they found it on the sea shelf in the North Sea, Norway's conclusion to the question, they funneled some of this rush of oil revenue into a sovereign wealth fund. And so it's looked at in the financial community as one of the best financial decisions of all time. The fund's assets have ballooned to over 1.4 trillion. Not with a B, not 1.4 billion, 1.4 trillion. Norway, not the United States, not Russia, not China, not Canada, Norway. 1.4 trillion. That puts Norway's sovereign fund at a similar size to that of China's. Yes, the same China that has more than 250 times more people as Norway does. Norway has a $1.4 trillion sovereign wealth fund based upon those oil reserves that have come out, that they found. So, again, Norway is not in the business of oil. They're not in the business. They do not exist to say, "Hey, we are Norway Incorporated, oil company." That's not why they exist. They exist to provide safety, security, sovereignty, and services to their residents, constituents, and whatever. But they're using the oil wealth fund, the sovereign wealth fund, to provide safety, security, services, and sovereignty to their constituents. Are we seeing the picture there? So it says a sea of money. Norway's government declared sovereignty over the Norwegian continental shelf, an area of the world that until the late 50s, most states had overlooked as a potentially rich source of oil. So they capitalized on something that other people had overlooked. Other people had opportunities and chances to get at this money. Norway said, let's capitalize on that. We're going to make this our sovereign land. And they did. And so when drilling started a few years later, Norway found itself awash with black gold. Remember that show, Beverly Hillbillies? Black gold, Texas tea, right? They found themselves awash with black gold, and the government immediately began debating how to ensure the fiscal flexibility if petroleum prices falter, its economy crumbles, or oil supplies eventually run dry. So in other words, they weren't just depending on that. They were taking. See, this is what it's about. It's not about, okay, I'm going to do solar, and so solar is it, and that's all I'm ever going to do ever in life for the rest of my life until the day I die. That's not the point. The point is to let this be used as a vehicle to fund what it is that you really want to do. Do you want to be in ministry full time? Do you want to fund that youth center? Do you want to be able to see other churches or mission trips and say, you know what, let's fund that? That's what this is for. Do you want to take the revenue that you get from solar as a church-owned business or as a business that you own as a pastor and invest it into something that sustains? Maybe some type of I can't remember if it's whole life or term life, whichever one. Invest it into that so that when you pass, the church gets $1 million insurance payout, right? Key man insurance or leading man insurance, whatever. You want to take it and invest it in some type of fund or market or whatever you do with it. That's the goal. That's the point, to create stability for you. Eventually, there could come a time where solar is so pervasive and so ubiquitous to where you're not even making the money out of it anymore. That time could eventually come. I don't think it's going to be anytime soon, but it could eventually come. But the goal is not solar. The goal is to take what solar can provide, a nearly unlimited power source, out in the world. You see, look at this window back here. That's light coming from the sun. What if that window was a solar panel? It could literally just be sitting here providing energy for this house or for the neighborhood, whatever, just based off of that. And there's another episode we're going to do later on talking about windows as solar panels. That is a thing that's coming. Solar is huge. We have a nearly unlimited energy source sitting in our solar system that we have barely even tapped into. Barely tapped into it. And so look at this. Look at these numbers here. I want to show you. When they established the government's petroleum fund in 1990 and 1996, the first cash was transferred into the petroleum fund and the government pension fund of Norway, as it later became known. Look at this. 1.4 trillion when they began investing into this fund. I mean, this, now notice, you see this here. This does not say oil right here. I don't know if you can see that. Norway Sovereign Wealth Fund, real estate investments, equity investments, fixed income investments. They were investing in various different things. So it wasn't about the oil. It was about taking what the oil could provide and then invest in other things that were a little bit more sustainable. Now, obviously, solar is nearly unlimitedly sustainable, but even then, it's still not even about that, because this solar is coming whether we want to get in, want to be part of it or not. The question is, will you be on the front end of it? And so our goal is to take what helping to expand the solar industry, what that provides, and take that and invest in some type of fund. Invest in, maybe you want to buy real estate for, that can provide residual income for you. Whatever the case may be, you want to take it and invest it in various things. That's what they did, and that is the point. So by the end of 1998, this is when I graduated from high school, 25 years ago or so, however long that was. It was about 23 billion. However, since then, the fund has grown exponentially as the oil money was poured into a smorgasbord or a variety of investments, from real estate and government bonds to equity investments into thousands of companies. So when we, if you make 6 figures in solar, it's not to go out and take the money and then buy a boat or a yacht, or to go, start flying private everywhere. But you want to take that and invest it in other things that will continue to, double and triple your money. Make your money work for you. I was taught by a financial advisor. Every dollar that you have is a soldier, and you want to put that soldier to work to create more soldiers. Every dollar that you have is a soldier, and you want to put that soldier to work to recruit or create more soldiers, or it's a worker, and you want that worker to recruit more workers. So you take the money and invest it in something, and that pot just keeps growing and growing and growing over time. And you can leverage against that, or you can borrow against that and get projects done. You pastors out there that want a new building, you need a new roof, you need a new heater, you need a new building for your church, you need an expanded community center. You want to buy land somewhere. You want to buy land in for us, we want to buy land in Trinidad. All right. This is how we're going to do it. And take this money, not just spend it, not just pay the pastor a huge salary. You can do that, but that's not the goal. The goal is to take this money and to invest it, and then borrow or leverage that investment to do other things and to start other businesses. You want to be create a business incubator system for your people in your community, in your church. You can do that with this. Look at this. So they said the returns on those wide-ranging investments, which now make up the bulk of the fund, with less than a third of the total coming from government inflows, have seen the fund's value rise to world-influencing levels, with 1.02 trillion tied up in global equity investments. So it's hard for us to wrap our head around what $1 trillion worth of stock market investment actually looks like. They said here, to put it into perspective, Norway, with just 0.07% of the world's population, owns a staggering 1.5% of the global stock market through investments in more than 9,000 listed companies, across 70 countries. What? Imagine you are a small storefront church. You are the pastor of a small storefront church. You got 50 members. But your budget is the size of a megachurch because you have taken the money from solar. Money's there. It's just there to get. And invested it into real estate, invested into funds, invested it into stocks, invested it into healthcare, invested it into utilities. I'm going to bring this up here. You've invested it into materials and telecoms and consumer staples and energy and all of this stuff. You've invested the money into various things in technology, right? You've invested the money wisely. And so now that money has doubled and quadrupled over time. And by the time you get ready to retire, your church is set for your successor. That's what this is about. That's what this is for. Why would some priests, this is the Power Priest podcast, why would some priests get involved in something like this? For us, it was a no-brainer. This is the point. This is the reason. Because we want to not only be a blessing, obviously, to ourselves. That's a byproduct. That's going to happen. But we want to be a blessing to our churches, to our communities, to our successors, to those who come after us, obviously to our families. But we want to get on the front end of this wealth trend that is coming. And so I'm just imploring you, I'm just inviting you, come on to this trend. Jump on. It's free. You can become a free ambassador. If you don't want to be a paid rep, you can be a free ambassador and still get a percentage. Just send the leads our way. So if you want to be a paid ambassador, if you want to be a rep, or if you're looking for solar, if you want to partner with us or get solar, text 313-757-2047 down there at the bottom. You can see that right there. This is divine energy where the power of the sun meets the power of the church. Don't miss out on this wealth trend. Act now. We are here to assist you, pastors. Please, and I implore you, pray about it. Talk to your staff about it. Become part of this. Become part of this movement. It's not going to distract you from what you're already doing. I still get to preach every Sunday while I'm doing this. So, with that said, again, this is the Power Priest podcast. We are part of Divine Energy, where the power of the sun meets the power of the church. God bless you.